ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Chant the 13th chapter, beginning. अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः।
अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव
क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च
क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च
एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि
एतत् वेदितुमिच्छामि।
ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव
ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय
इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय
क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते
क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते।
एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः
एतत् यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः
क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः।
क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तत्विदः।
क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि
क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि
सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत
सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत।
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानम्
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं
यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम
यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम।
तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च
तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक्य
यद्विकारि यतश्च यत्
यद्विकारि यतश्च यत्
स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च
चतयो यत् प्रभावश्च
तत्समासेन मे शृणु।
तत्समासेन मे शृणु।
Yeah. So in the last class we saw we saw a brief introduction to what is called Shastram. which we are studying now in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So we saw some introduction. What is the Shastram? What makes us come to the Shastram? And briefly, what the Shastram can offer us, can give us. So that question should be there in the back of our mind. Just like for anything else we do, इसका क्या मतलब है? So मुझे इससे क्या फायदा है? எனக்கு இதனால என்ன பிரயோஜனம்? So that is a question we all have in anything we do. From simple things to big complicated things, including getting degrees and things like that. Getting a PhD degree takes so many years, 4, 5, sometimes 6. And so why would somebody want to spend 5 years doing a PhD? So there has to be some benefit from these things. So Shastram is no different. So we will understand these things as we study. And in this Bhagavad Gita, finally it is going to talk about Brahma Vidya. Okay? And Brahma Vidya is the unfoldment of the grand equation of Vedanta, which is the equations that is mentioned in the Upanishads, called Tat Tvam Asi. And many other similar equations are there. Asi means equal to. Tat means that. Tvam means you. So you are that, popularly translated into English. And so in this equation, Tvam is Jiva, me, the self. Tvam, me. I mean, I'm an important entity in my life at least. And I'm going to be an important entity for the rest of my life also. And I lead my whole life based on who I am, who I think I am, who I want, what I want in life. That's what drives me to do what I do. Every minute of the day, even though it may not occur to me. And so that I is Tvam in that equation, Tvam. And the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita unfold that Tvam Pada. Tvam Pada. Tvam Pada Vicharaha. Technically, we call it like that. Tvam Pada Vicharaha. Inquiry into the word Tvam in the equation Tat Tvam Asi. That equation is called Mahavakyam in Sanskrit. And then the next 6 chapters, namely chapter 7 to chapter 12, okay, which we just completed last week, talks about the Tat Padam in that equation. Tat means that. And that means what? That means, it means the world. And that means Ishvara, Bhagavan, God, in this Mahavakyam. So in our vision, God is not simply sitting somewhere, but God pervades the world. God created the world and also pervaded the world. This is unlike any creation you and I know. Okay? Unlike any creation. Here is a pot. It's clay, solid clay. I hope you can hear the sound I'm making. Okay? Just to prove to you that it's solid. It's not a plastic pot, although you can get plastic pots and all. So I purchased this sometime 2 years ago. Okay. And so this is a creation. This is also a creation. It's a product that's created. Why? How do I know it's created? Because I don't see objects like this naturally occurring. You don't walk around and suddenly from a tree all pots are falling, and whatever pot you want, you can take. Some people like to fill up, get water in a pot and then drink water from a pot. Those days they used to do that. Natural filter, So you don't see something like that. Therefore, it's created, and you need a human being to create this. And so this becomes a product. Now, in this case, the created product is different from the creator. The creator is the pot maker. And like this, you can look at anything. I have a Bhagavad Gita book in my hand, published by Gita Press, Gorakhpur. And guess what? Gorakhpur Gita Press is a manufacturer of this book. And the manufacturer stays in Gorakhpur. He doesn't enter my house, correct? Thankfully, Gorakhpur people don't enter my house because there is no place in this house for all of them. Thankfully, some transaction, I pay them some money and they give me the book and I walk out. Thankfully, the pot maker does not come along with the pot. Okay. This is all the creation I know. I don't know of any other type of creation. And we saw in the past few chapters, this new type of creation called Srishti. Srishti is where the created product called the universe is not separate from the creator. And we know examples to that. Upanishad gives an example of Yatha Urna Nabhihi. Yatha Urna Nabhihi. The spider's web. Spider. This Upanishad talks about the spider that is hanging from the wall on top right there. And just like the spider's web comes out of the spider. The spider doesn't look around for some cement and mud and water and this and that, chana dal and tur dal to make its web. It just comes out of itself. That is the example the Upanishad gives. But it's an example to appreciate that the material for the creation came out of the creator himself, herself. That's a good example. But it's not good when it comes to the creation being pervaded by the creator. Not good, because the spider web is there and the spider is moving away from the web. I can see it, correct? And so a better example for that would be your own dream world, Swapna, dream world. The dream world is my own creation. And the dream world is not an ordinary world. You can't say, dream and walk away. Dream and all won't work. And when inside you are dreaming all great things and somebody comes and tells you, come on, you idiot. You're all enjoying this world. This is nothing. It's just a dream. You will tell the other guy, shut up. What are you talking? Go see a psychiatrist. You will tell the other guy who's advising you, actually, he's right. But in the dream world, Swakale Satyavad Bhati. Swakale. When I'm in the spell of dream, it's real. It's as real as any other world I know. And so, therefore, that dream world is created by whom? I created that dream world. And that dream world is not an ordinary world. It has all the differentiations that I've seen in this so-called real world. And everything is there. My brothers, sisters, family, everybody is there. Friends are there. Parties are happening. And dog is also chasing me. Somebody is unmuted. Please mute yourself. And dog is also chasing me. And I'm running. And the dog is running after me. And I'm screaming for help. I don't know. And guess what? That fear is already manifesting in this body, in this real world. And I'm sweating while I'm sleeping. So it's very real, my dear friends. You can't say, dream and all doesn't work. Okay. But then that example is beautiful because the created world, I did not go out to get the material to build this world. Okay. And I built it out of what? Out of my own stuff that is there in my own mind, my memories, my aspirations, my fears, my frustrations. Everything just combines and then something happens and the world is created. And this world is pervaded by me, of course. The world is not separate from me. It is very much non-separate from me. I'm part of the world. Good example Shastram gives to help us appreciate this idea of creation that I never know in my real life. And so this example is useful. And that is the creation that Shastram talks about in the Shastram, and which is very different from the creation, I know. And therefore, we cannot no longer use the word creation for this type of new creation that I came to know. Why? Because the word creation has been used up. This is my son's creation. He's the one who drew this. Who did that? I created that. I did that. How? You're a good artist. Okay. And Rangoli, who did that? It's my creation. Wow, this is amazing. I know a person who won the Limca contest, Rangoli, first prize. Like a Guinness Book of World Records, there's a Limca Book of Records. That's India's, I think. These days, I don't know if it exists. So it's all our creation. Our creation is different from who we are, and therefore we can't use the word creation. Therefore, Shastram introduces the word called Srishti. 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 And other religions talk about creation. In their creation also, God is separate, sitting in heaven, and then created this world. One planet at a time, one day at a time, 2 days at a time. All these things happen. Therefore, that concept is not applicable to us here. Therefore, we cannot use the word creation. And so that God, now we can't even use the word God because it's been used up by other religions. And to refer to this almighty God that is sitting in heaven. Our God might be sitting in heaven, but is sitting everywhere also. In my heart also, they say he's sitting. Okay. He or she, that's also up to you, they say, if you want she to be God or God to be she, go for it. If you want God to be he, go for it. We're going to look at all that. And so, therefore, if God is there and God is here also, we have to use a different word. So we will use the word Bhagavan. We'll stick with the words that we received from our ancestors, our parents and grandparents and whatnot, how many millennia it's coming from. So Ishvaraha, Bhagavan in Sanskrit. In our own languages, we have Kadavul, etc. We have all these words. Kadavul in Tamil, we say. Ul Kada. Ul means inside. Kada means one who is residing inside. That is the meaning of Kadavul. Okay. So for us, God is not separate. Anyway, so the second set of 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita unfolds this Tatpadam, unfolds this Bhagavan. And you can see the shift from the 6th chapter to the 7th chapter. And suddenly, how does it start? Maya Saktamanah Partha Yogam Yunjanmad Ashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yathagnyasyasi Tachruno. Mam Samagram, the entire me. How you should know, I'm going to teach you. Like that he starts. He shifts from you to me. Like that he starts, right? So you can see that shift in the 7th chapter. Now, this third set of 6 chapters is what we are beginning now, which is going to unfold this Asipadam. Asipadam means what? Having understood Jiva and having understood Ishvara. Now there is an equation between the two. That equation is going to be taught by Sri Krishna in this set of 6 chapters. Yeah. And so that equation is called Mahavakyam in our the technical word called Mahavakyam. Vakyam literally means sentence. Mahavakyam is a grand sentence or grand equation in this case. Just like you have the theory of relativity and the grand equation of E is equal to mc square. We may have heard of it, but we don't really know what it means. Like that here also. Often talked about, even sung in our bhajans and in our classical music songs, tu he, who, my he, tu, my who, tu, etc. These words are all used. But Shastram is the formal source for that. And that is what we're going to study here. And so, the three things that are talked about in this section is the general idea of this Jiveshwara Aikyam. Jiveshwara Aikyam, the essential oneness of Jiva and Ishvara. We use the word Jiva to refer to the self. Because we know there is a self. Nobody can say, I don't know that I exist. Nobody can say that. Therefore, I exist. And Ishvara exists. Why Ishvara exists means, if a simple pot like this, try making a pot. Try making a pot. Or for those who don't know how to cook, try and make dal. Okay, I'll give you a simple exercise. Just make dal. You don't have to make kadhi, kada, and sambar, rasam, and all. You don't make. Just make rice. That is even easier. Go make rice. Then kitchen, all noises are coming, and people ask, "What are you doing?" I'm making rice. Then what's all this noise? No, I'm searching for the cooker. This guy doesn't even know where to identify cooker. You have to start from basics, So cooker is trying to search it. Where is this guy? How is he going to differentiate rice from dal? We don't. So that's how it is. And so this jiva, fortunately. So what I was saying is, this rice itself, we needs a creator. And small pot like this needs a creator. Small things like this. What to talk of this body, first of all? It has a couple of eyes. Why God did not give to one eye? Why do you need two eyes? My goodness, there's a big science behind that. And it is impossible to create a human body like this without somebody knowing what a body is. The person who created this pot, Ghata in Sanskrit. Ghata karta, Ghatagnya. The one who created the pot is the knower of the pot, Ghatagnya. Ghatakarta, Ghatagnya. The creator of the pot is knowledgeable about the pot. He cannot create other things. Don't ask him to grow a garden and this and that, grow tomatoes and all. That he won't know. He's very good at this. And you try making this, it will go all over the place, right? All over the place is the right answer to way to describe that, I think. It won't work. And so, Ghatakarta, Ghatagnya. And here is a cloth, Patakarta, Patagnya. The maker of the cloth is the knower of the cloth. The person has to have a vision before creating it. This is what my end product should look like. And this is the purpose of my end product. Purpose also is to be known. Form and function. Everything is clear. And therefore, Jagat Karta. Jagat means the universe. Jagat Karta, Jagatnyaha. Jagannatha. Puri, Jagannath. Right? So, this is the logic. Therefore, there must be an Ishvara. And therefore, it's convenient to put that Ishvara out in heaven. Because it's the guy who makes a skyscraper in New York puts a penthouse on top of this skyscraper, and guess where this guy is going to sit? On the ground floor? You think this owner is going to sit? Most likely not. And this guy is going to occupy the penthouse suite up there. And so he goes up in this 90 floors, 100 floors express elevator, and then he goes on top, and then he processes. Okay? And therefore, God cannot be in this world. This is too much pollution and noise pollution, this and that, and relatives and in-laws constantly bugging me. And so this place can't be the place for God. He must have created a penthouse, and that's called heaven. Now it's all falling in place. And so God is in heaven. He has given this to all of us. And how much ever I pray, he's not coming and answering my prayers also. What happened? What's his problem? Is he afraid of facing me or what? God created me and he's afraid of facing me. He's constantly in heaven. Hey, at least once in a while, you should come and say hi and visit in our company, $80 billion company. Our CEO used to make trips. He used to come to our floor. We used to have a meeting, lunch meeting, we used to. And lunch meeting. And then lunch is all served. And my floor, generally, they know me as this vegetarian guy. And so they will make sure some salad is available. Our secretaries and all were very nice about that. Jay, don't worry. You'll have food today. Like that, they'll say. Because otherwise, I'll be sitting quietly, just having some glass of water. And so they took care of me. And the CEO comes. And we don't get to see that off. Okay. So like that, God should come once in a while. No, he's too busy. I don't know what he's doing. But Shiro, Dhanvat Pradeshe, Shuchimani, Velasat Saikate, Mauptika, the motion of milk and all this say somewhere he's sitting. Okay. This is most of the world talks like this. I think wrong per se. But then you can't say God is in heaven and you can't say God is all pervasive in the same breath. They are contradictory statements. God is in heaven. If you say God is finite, we will say, let God be in heaven, but he might be mighty, but not almighty. He's mighty because he created this world, but he's not almighty because he's not me. He's not this table. He's not this book. He's not this house. He's not this tree. He's not earth. He's not the solar system. Correct? That means there are so many things he's not. So this becomes our argument. So, Jiva Ishvara Swarupa Aikyam has to be talked about. Okay. Then topic number 2, Jnana Yoga. Okay, if this Aikyam is a reality, tell me how I can understand this. That how I can understand this is called Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga. The wave has to be told. The wave is afraid that tomorrow I'm going to die. And I'm approaching land fast and I'm going to smash against the rocks and I'm going to die. That is the fear of the wave. And I'm moved here and there. I'm just shaken by all these things. Life is taking me for a toss. Okay? And the wave has to be told, my dear friend, yes, you are born of the ocean. God, the ocean, created you. Okay, that's what you're thinking. That's good. But guess what? The Swarupa of the ocean is water. Your Swarupa is also water. God also cannot claim to be somebody other than water. And guess what? You are also that same water. The same salty water, because ocean example, So, same water you do like this, salty. Go in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, salty. Indian Ocean or Bay of Bengal, same salty water. Therefore, wave, have you ever given thought to this idea that you are water first and foremost? Only then you've taken a form of a wave, all right? But it's only a form. It's a form. It's an important form, all right? Your body is very important to you. I understand your identity is very important. Yeah, I'll come to that. But your identity, the body is you, but you are not the body. What? The body is you. The wave is you. The wave is water, but the water is not wave. If water were wave and if water were ocean, then I will get drowned by my own tears. Because water is wave, water is ocean, So I should get drowned the minute I weep. That doesn't happen. And so, just like our friend here, the pot has to be told, pot is clay, but clay is not pot. The pot has to be first told, there is something called clay. Your whole essence is clay. There is no part of you. I'm trying to look around. There is no part of you that is not clay. Your inside is clay. Your sides are clay. Backside, front side, bottom, everything is clay. Your whole essence is clay. And guess what? The pot was born 2 years ago. The clay. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. Ajaha, unborn. Clay was always there. Before the pot, the clay was there. And guess what? After the pot dies away, the clay will continue to remain. Nityaha, ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. You are that nityaha, ajaha, unborn, eternal essence, which is the same and unborn eternal essence of Ishvara also. This teaching has to come. And that unfoldment is called Jnana Yoga. Previously, Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? In the first 6 chapters, Karma Yoga was talked about. And what is Karma Yoga? Well, it's a preparation to come to Jnana Yoga. That's why every chapter in Bhagavad Gita ends like this. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidya is Jnana Yoga, and Yoga Shastre means yoga. All the disciplines needed for me to get to a point where I can at least acknowledge the possibility of Jiveshwara Aikyam. You go to other religions, go to the church and talk about this Jiveshwara Aikyam. You know what they will say? The devil has possessed this man. Get him out now. That's what they will say. It's called blasphemy. Won't work. Won't work. Only Advaita Vedanta. Only Sanatana Dharma can make a statement like this and begin to teach it and unfold it also. There are people teaching this also. That's the most amazing. So, this equation is there. How can this puny jiva, minuscule, insignificant entity, and this all-pervasive, almighty, sarva-shaktiman, sarva-vyapi, sarvajnaha, God be identical? This is ridiculous, actually. The statement is just, we can't even laugh at this statement. That's how bad the statement is. That's how wrong this statement is. Yeah, that is correct. It's a correct observation. The child, the parents are so happy that the child is now, he tells from 1 to 10. Solupa, tell, boto bela, beta, bolo. Poor. These children are so, whenever they like guests, see the guests have come with their children. These children want to play. You drag these fellows, and then these parents are so insecure. They want to show off how my son has memorized 1 to 10. Bolo. This guy wants to play. Allow him to play a little. Okay, every child is going to learn 1 to 10. What is the big thing? No. Bolo beta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, after 5, kya hai? Kyo? 5, 6. And then parents are just impatient. They want this guy to go from 1 to 10 in few seconds, 3 seconds. Anyway, this child, you show this child, tell this child 3 plus 2 is equal to 9 minus 4. 3 plus 2 is equal to 9 minus 4. You better convince yourself. 3 plus 2 is equal to 9 minus 4. And this child looks at it. 3. Yeah, very good job. 2. Good job. 9. 4. Beta, excellent. So good you are. I'm so proud of you. That's all this child can know. And beyond that, it's all different. Numbers are different. On the left-hand side, there is plus. On the right-hand side, there is minus. Signs are also different. Everything is different. Equal to is there, and this is not equal to that. Because everything about the left-hand side and the right-hand side are not equal. And the teacher, mathematics teacher, goes on the board and is trying to explain why these two are equal. How much preparedness is needed for this child to come to that point? It takes years. It takes years of twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And slowly come, push the child to school. Slowly the child gets interested. And then mommy and daddy and all comes back home and gets excited. So that initial barrier is gone. And so the child gets used to going to school. Then 1, 2, 3, ABC, and then this, that. And then finally comes to this point. Addition, oh, it's going to take a while. Parents are, Nobel Prize winners in physics and chemistry. They are so impatient. My God, this boy doesn't know addition. Because parents want this child to immediately become a scientist, So that equation has to be unfolded. It's obviously different, left-hand side, right-hand side. But then what is not obvious, that is the job of the Shastram to unfold. Okay? And prove that this is what it takes. And knowing this is what is moksha, to be able to prove all that. It's a tall order. And that's fine. The Shastram can take on the challenge. And those who know it can take on the challenge, because after all, they've gone through the same process. Okay? And so even though there is a world of difference between Jiva and Ishvara, correct? World of difference. Entire world, in fact. I am here in the big world, the world of difference between the two. But essentially, Jiva and Ishvara are identical. That is, the teaching of that forms the essence of Jnana Yoga. And the third item that Krishna brings in this section is what is called values. Values. Very beautiful. Dharma, you can say dharma, you can say guna, sadguna, you can use all these words for values. Why are values being talked about? Well, values are essential for human preparedness. That is why in our Purushartha, Artha is there, Kama is there, and Dharma is also there. Somewhere among these three, Dharma will come. Dharma will come. Because a person who is cutting corners all the time, for the sake of convenience, keep on lying, deceiving, cheating, this kind of a person is not going to appreciate. Bhagavad Gita is a meaningless book for such a person. So we need to be one person, integrated being. What I say, what is it? Vang me manasi pratishtita, mano me vachi pratishthitam, aviravirma edhi. Look at the beautiful Shanti mantra. Vang me manasi pratishthitam, pratishtita. Me manasi, in my mind, let my speech be. That is the literal meaning of the statement. Let my speech be in my mind. Means what? Let my words be in sync with my mind. Let what I say be true to what I know. Vane manasi pratishtita. Mano me vachi pratishtitam. May my mind be in my speech. What is that? That means let there be absolutely no dissonance between the two. There must be both must be in complete sync. Okay. I speak the truth. I know what is the truth. Okay. And I do what I say. I say what I do. Okay. That is what is an integrated person. The person need not know any shastram and all that, but just pure life. Such a person is already worshipful, because such a person, they say, is equal to God. Okay. That person gives abhayam to others. gives fearlessness to others, becomes a role model for the rest of us. So dharma is very much there in the Purushartha, first three, and only after that we come to moksha. So we can't study Bhagavad Gita by keeping all the others aside. Dharma can't be kept aside. Therefore, Krishna brings about his values in 13th chapter itself. Beautiful set of values will come. Amanitvamadam bhitvam, ahimsa kshantirarjavam, acharyopasanam shaucham, sthairyamaatma vinigraha, like that. A beautiful set of shlokas which we will memorize as we go through that. And so those values are so important. And so this Bhagavad Gita, shloka after shloka, we are going to study. And it's not like Ramayana. Ramayana was necessary for us. As children, we needed it. And thanks to Ramayana, there is so much we know. Our whole value systems are based on Ramayana and Mahabharata, believe it or not. You know, one psychologist says, I found it to be very interesting. In the US, she says, when they were looking at divorces in the society, and they used to say in America, 1 in 3 marriages end up in divorce. And they say the instances of divorce in India is very little compared to America those days. Yeah, these days that's changing. But they say one of the reasons for that is Ramayana. Ramayana, that's it. Oh, in one answer, if you want to know the reason, answer is Ramayana. They used to say that. Psychologists say that. And okay, we can probably understand that, justify it. But the more aware we are from all these things, our society is also getting shaken up. And but you can understand the psyche, how these itihasas have been ingrained in our psyche. Satyam Vada, Harishchandra, story of Harishchandra. When a child hears this, you know what the child will think? My God, truth is it? I must speak the truth. And the child will actually speak the truths. Until the parents say, you can't be so truthful. You can't survive if you are so truthful. Huh? No, you should not speak the truth like that. So the child has to be conditioned to not speak the truth. Don't help others. Don't speak with strangers. This and don't. While it is natural for me to speak the truth, it is natural for me to help a stranger. It is so natural for me to do all these things. All those natural instincts have to be suppressed. And then I get confused in the process. Anyway, that's different. And so Ramayana important. Why I said all that? Ramayana, at least, the one good thing about Ramayana is Rama will still be in the forest after you wake up. Because you slept off, Listening to this, you slept off. Then you wake up, he's still in the forest. Only difference is he was in Bharadwaja's ashram. Now from Bharadwaja, he went to Valmiki ashram. And then he's going to go to Sutikshna's ashram, and then Dharmabrita ashram, and Agastya's ashram, etc. There is a big series of ashrams we'll go to. And every rishi is going to give him advice. Don't do this, go there. It seems as though he's quietly getting pushed towards this Sri Lanka. So, there you can pick up the thread. Here also, in a way, you will pick up the thread. Because here also sleep will come. However interesting it is, however interesting the speaker is, the teacher is, however much they are trying hard to grab their attention. Okay. Our Swamiji is an expert at this. Some of you know. Chinmayanandaji and Dayanandaji are all great. They're all larger than life figures. However much they try, you know what will happen? Sleep will come. You know why? You know why sleep comes? Because it's good to hear all these things. And I've been, after a day's work and after being beaten around all over the place, boss, this, that, husband, wife, children and all, it comes, it's good to hear. When it's good to hear, you know what? Mind relaxes. When the mind relaxes, it happens. So it's a good sign. If you sleep, it's a good sign. But sleeping every class is not a good sign. At least you doze up and wake up and say, oh, yeah, Geeta, I have to study, Pinch yourself a bit periodically. So that is the values of something Bhagavan Sri Krishna talk about. And entire 16th and 17th chapters are all about values. 16th chapter is going to start with the word Abhayam, Sattva Samshuddhihi. Like that, he's going to talk. Okay, Arjavam. Again, he's going to use the same word that he's going to use in this chapter, repeated in 16th chapter. Arjavam, beautiful word. Arjavam. We'll talk about it when it comes. So, Sadguna, Atma Guna, Dharma, okay. Or in our language, the language of Vedanta, we will call what? We will call Adhikaritvam, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampattihi. Some of you, this may be the first time you're hearing this. If so, we will have a Abhyasa Varga. Abhyasa class will be there starting this week. We'll have a session where just you all will meet and one of you will, Anuradhaji will, and others will lead the sessions. And there you can ask your questions, background, things like that, or you can just discuss what was taught in class. Okay. Well, I'll talk about that short. And so that's the background. Three things. What are the three things? Mahavakyam introduction, then Jnana Yoga as a means to appreciate the essence of that Mahavakya, the grandness of that Mahavakya, and third, Sattva Guna, Atma Guna. So the virtues, values, now we use these words for. Those are the three things talked about in the last third of the Bhagavad Gita, starting from the chapter number 13. Sometimes, because values are being introduced in this chapter, some acharyas choose to, instead of starting from the second chapter, actual teaching starts in the second chapter, some acharyas will choose to come to the 13th chapter, then go back to second chapter. Because this chapter has values which are easier to appreciate and which we all need to imbibe and strengthen in our lives. And so that's one thought out there. So let's chant this Shloka number 1, which we already chanted. So let me chant it. You can chant yourself along with me. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha Ye Tad Veditumicchami Jnanam Nyayam Cha Keshava. So today's class will, generally what happens, classes are from 6:30 to 7:30 Indian Standard Time morning. And today, once in 2 weeks, we have this meditation, Dhyanam. And so because of that, we get pushed by another half hour. So those who can stay, please stay back. So this shloka, as I said the other day, not there in many versions of Bhagavad Gita. Some versions will have it. So it looks like it was added by somebody. Madhusudana Saraswati could have added this. And it's a useful shloka. Therefore, we use it. We treat it as part of the Bhagavad Gita talked about by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, written by Vedavyasa. And so here, he's talking about Arjuna. Arjuna, watch. Ye tad veditum ichchami. Ichchami, I desire. To do what? Veditum, to know. To know what? Ye tad, this. This I want to know. This I want to know, he says. And what is this I want to know? Look at this. Prakritim, Purusham, Chaiva. He's introduced it several technical words. Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetram, Kshetrajnaha, Jnanam, Nyayam. 6 technical words are introduced, correct? So, we shouldn't be surprised at seeing words like this because this is also a subject to be understood. And every subject will have technical words, correct? Suppose they say precipitation. Okay, precipitation. Suppose I use the word precipitation. Then what? What are you going to, how are you going to interpret that word? Then your chemistry background might say, you mix these two, acid and base, and then the salt will drop and become a precipitate. It will either float in the lake above water or sink below the water. Precipitate, precipitating, we say. That's a chemical meaning of that. The context of chemistry, that's the meaning. But suppose the context is meteorology. Then precipitation is something different. It is what? It is rainfall, snowfall. All these things are referred to by the word precipitation. Technical word, correct? Means one thing there, means something entirely different here. So every science, every subject has technical words. And so we also have technical words here. Not like that, we have in economy, you have technical words. Inflation, deflation, GDP, GNP, all these are technical words, right? And so, like in the 8th chapter, some of you remember in chapter 1, chapter 8, first Shloka itself, Arjuna asks a question, Kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam, kim karma purushottama, adhibhutam cha kim proktam, adhidhaivam kim uchyate. Like that, he introduced many words, right? And kim tad brahma, etc. Brahma, adhyatmam, adhibhutam, adhiyajnaha, etc. So like that, we have another question from Arjuna here. Etat veditum ichhami. I want to know this. Hey Keshava, hey Sri Krishna, I want to know this. What he's saying. So we will continue this discussion in the next class. Prakriti should ring a bell already. Why? Because in the 8th chapter, we talked about para prakriti and apara prakriti. Okay. So here again, he's using that same word. And that shows what? It shows that even though Arjuna was taught 12 chapters, lagatar, sometimes this lagatar business can have a problem because even though I heard it, it hasn't fully gone inside. And so I have to ask the same question again sometimes. Can you repeat that once again? I found it to be very interesting, but then you know what? I'm not able to recall it or I'm not able to understand. So this kind of a dialogue is constant in Bhagavad Gita. It's constant in Upanishads, and that's because it is something to be understood, not something to be believed. If it is a question of belief alone, we will say all kinds of things. You believe it, and you believe it because Krishna said it, because Rama said it, because Devi said it in Lalita Sahasranama, and we can walk on with this set of beliefs. But some of these things are, an equation is meant to be understood, not to be believed. Correct? 3 plus 2 is equal to 9 minus 4. You can't say, yeah, those two are equal because my teacher told me those two are equal. Oh, wow, you have a lot of Shraddha in your teacher. Amazing. Even that Shraddha I don't have. You can't say that. You can't say it is true because my teacher told me it is true. Hey, your teacher told you it is true, but did it go into your head or not? Do you know it is true or not? That is what makes a difference in your life. And so we should be able to stand up and say, yes, 3 plus 2 is equal to 9 minus 4. And I'm ready to teach this to my children or other children. That's what is knowledge. And so that's the knowledge that we're after. And so we will pause today with that thought and continue in the next class. And a couple of things I'll say before concluding. So Anuradha ji is going to coordinate. There are others, Meera and Satish and all are there who coordinate some classes. But for this particular topic, Bhagavad Gita, there will be what is called a Abhyasa Varga. Abhyasa Varga means just recapping what was talked about in class. And since there are some new students here, they may have some more doubts. They can get that clarified in that Abhyasa Varga. It may or may not be convenient to you to attend. So she will tell us when that they fixed a time based on various factors. And so
the time is
yeah.
Saturday 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. IST.
Okay. Saturday 7 o'clock p.m. to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And so that would be Saturday morning, Canada and US time. And so keep that in mind for those of you who can afford that 1 hour. You're welcome to join that session where Anuradha ji and others will be, primarily Anuradha ji will be leading. Anuradha lives in Canada, and she's been a student of Sarvapriyananda ji for many years. She studied under other swamis from Ramakrishna Mission, and so she's very, very knowledgeable in this topic. And Advaita Vedanta, it requires sometimes it requires years of study to really get the grasp of it. And so I'm happy that she's offered to lead this session. Please take advantage of that. And the second point is that typically when we finish the class in an hour, it is followed by a satsang session where I invite questions from all of you, and oftentimes that session ends up becoming half an hour, 45 minutes, even 1 hour sometimes. And we have to just call it off at 1 hour. So if you can stay through that session, that will be fine. And I found that these sessions are also quite, it involves elaborating on what was said in class. And so it often can be quite helpful. And so you're welcome to take advantage of that as well. So with that,
Jaykumar-ji, also I will send the link tonight, so you will get it.
Okay, so the link to
in the
Zoom.
WhatsApp, I will send the link.
So there will be a different this one Zoom license for that.
Yeah,
So
I got that.
Maybe that's something Vijay can do, that put that link in the description, make it clear that this is for the Abhyasa session. And the reason for that is we are conducting a lot of classes, some 20 to 25 classes are going on. And if you include Abhyasa and all that, it's 25 plus. And so we have 6 Zoom licenses. So we're juggling with all these things. And oftentimes, many of these sessions happen at the same time. And so that's why we have to juggle like this. And so I hope that will not pose a problem. All right, we'll conclude this, and then those who if you want to stay back for some can see that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. And those who did not introduce yourself in the last class, you're welcome to come forward and introduce